Hey, what's up? I'm Jason Howell and I'm here with the Asus Nexus 7. Now this is an important device for Google and Asus. It's essentially a Nexus branded tablet, flagship device for Google, showing off the new version of Android, Jelly Bean 4.1. And it's an incredible tablet for the price especially. $199 for an 8 gig version, $249 for a 16 gig version. Let's take a quick look at the specs. It's a 1.3 gigahertz quad-core NVIDIA Tegra 3 processor with 1 gig of RAM, 1280 by 800 HD LED backlit IPS display with 10-point multi-touch, has a 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera, and it lacks an SD card slot. It does, however, have Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, NFC, GPS, accelerometer, magnetometer, gyroscope, and a microphone. There is no cellular connectivity for this tablet. And it features a non-removable 4,326 milliamp hour battery underneath. Let's take a look at the design. It's an impressive, compact, contoured, and light tablet. The design, it just feels expensive, especially for the low cost. You don't expect it. It has a nice rubberized backing right back here that really keeps it from slipping out of your hands, and it just has a nice, solid feel to it. The power and the volume rockers are a little bit recessed, which can make for a difficult time finding them and hitting them properly sometimes, but it's a small price to pay because it keeps it out of the way from getting bumped accidentally, and the front-facing profile actually looks a lot better without those buttons jutting out of the sides. Pogo pins on the side, though there's no word yet exactly how those are going to be utilized, but I'm sure accessories are right around the corner. And overall, this tablet just feels solid and rigid. It does not feel inexpensive in the least bit. Now the display, with a higher resolution and smaller screen size, the pixel density on this, which is about 216 pixels per inch, is very crisp, and it's only really noticeable if you get extremely close to the tablet, which you probably won't. It can be somewhat dim in highlight situations, so if you're outside and you have direct sunlight pouring down on you, you might have a harder time reading that book, but overall it wasn't a deal breaker. Overall it has excellent viewing angles. It's just a really good display on this tablet, way better than the price would make you believe. Now performance. System-wide performance is actually very fluid and very slick, and that's thanks to the impressive innards, and as well, of course, Jelly Bean has their Project Butter enhancements, which actually smooth out all of the graphical UI interactions. Little to no noticeable stutter when moving from home screens and then jumping to the app drawer and throughout included apps. Overall, it's very fluid. Gaming performance is again very impressive. This is actually a really good gaming tablet with the NVIDIA Tegra 3 processor. It's just very powered for gaming. Grand Theft Auto 3 played easily on this device, and that's a pretty good game to test the limitations of a device for gaming. Also, a new game, Dead Trigger, actually plays like a charm as well on this. It was very enjoyable to play games on this form factor. Chrome is the browser of choice. It's installed on here as the default browser. First time for Android that's been the case, and you're happy that it's there. It syncs with all of your other desktop instances of Chrome and other devices, and it's just really a fast and convenient browser on Android, though there is no flash support in Chrome, so keep that in mind. Use another browser for that. All right, now onto camera. Now there really isn't a whole lot to say because as you can see here, there's no rear-facing camera on the Nexus 7, only a 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera. They don't really intend for you to take pictures with this tablet. That doesn't really bother me. It'll bother some people. And the front-facing camera is serviceable for things like video conferencing, Skype, that sort of stuff. It does not, at least this test unit, did not come installed with a camera app. If that bothers you, you can actually install it. If you go to the Play Store and search for Camera Launcher for Nexus 7, you'll find it there, and it actually gives you the same functionality, including all that funky video effects that Google likes to build into their camera app these days. As for the battery, not a whole lot to report here other than that it's pretty sufficient. It's a non-removable battery, but the performance I found was good enough. Standby time was reasonable for me, and actually the battery performance, though the battery is on par of the same size as the Kindle Fire's battery, it actually performs better in comparison. I've seen some reports about that too. So I'd say the battery is pretty ample for this size of the tablet. Now onto content, which is kind of a big play for Google because they're trying to drive more people to the Play Store. Google's improved the quantity and types of content on Google Play to include the option to purchase movies instead of just rent them. TV shows can be purchased as well as magazines. And as of this recording, some international users are not going to get access to those new parts of the Google Play Store, though Google says they're working on it, so there's a limit there. And for a limited time, Nexus 7 comes with with a $25 Google Play credit to get you used to buying through the store. So even more value for the low price of the tablet. Unfortunately though, the content, the amount of content that you'll find in the Play Store kind of pales in comparison to the offerings of other competing OSs like iOS, as well as other ecosystems on Android, such as Amazon's. There's just a little more found in those other places versus what you'll find in the Play Store. So if you're looking for content, you might have to wait a little bit before Google's gets on par with those. And finally, what does it mean to be a Nexus tablet? Google's created Nexus to be a kind of program that allows them to show you what the ideal Android tablet UI and approach would be. This is about as scaled down of a version of the OS as you can get, with no carrier overlays like HTC's Sense or anything like that to get in the way. This is true Android, and being that it's the new version of Android Jelly Bean, it's actually kind of an exciting deal to get into it so early. On top of that, Nexus also means you're going to get any updates and support direct from Google, which means no delays in the back end. So ultimately it means you'll probably be most likely to get the updates to the new versions of Android before anybody else, and that's a big plus. So let's take a look at the pros. It's a low-cost, high-quality design. It has impressive performance system-wide, has a sharp display, and it's a Nexus. And the cons: there is no expandable memory, content options are lacking compared to some of the competition, and for those who care, there's no rear-facing camera. But ultimately, that is not enough of a ding for me. I have no hesitation of recommending that you buy the Nexus 7. Quite simply, Google and ASUS have created a winner here, and this is a fantastic tablet, and you get so much good technology underneath for such a low price, you can't pass it up. Find my reviews on All About Android at twit.tv/AAA. Thanks for checking out this review of the ASUS Nexus 7.